Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious a Nerd podcast. Joining me today is my co-host David Cochran, and today we will be talking about Last of Us Season 2 episodes 5 through 7, and also a full review of the Rockstar classic Red Dead Redemption 2. Dave finally finished it after a very long time of playing, going back, restarting it over, but he did finally finish it, so we're going to talk about all of that at the end of this episode. And we do have some other episodes out recently. Andy from the Galactic Core podcast and JD did an episode on Lex Luthor comic series. And they did some DCU and Superman speculation. So, of course, that movie comes out. And we did get tickets, all three of us. Of course, JD is in a different state, but he also got our exclusive Prime membership early access, early screening Superman tickets. So we'll be seeing it on that Tuesday. Be doing a little
We're special. Get
right,
over
yeah,
it.
Right, exactly. The Why So Sidious crew was formally invited. And we'll have a non-spoiler review out very soon. So if you plan on seeing it opening weekend, we'll have our non-spoiler review out before then. And also Ironheart comes out in 2 weeks, which is pretty interesting. Not a lot of publicity or ads. There were a couple trailers. I haven't seen the newest one, but I imagine it'll be a show that we probably cover all at once. You know, I think they dropped the first few episodes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I feel like there is a quiet fan base trying to get some more pump into this show, so we'll see.
Yeah, again, every time it gets brought up on our show, I forget that it's a thing that's happening. So they really I don't know. I guess the promotion's somewhat been there, but I would be blown away if this show ended up getting good reviews.
Yeah, right. And don't forget to check us out on Apple and Spotify if you're not here live on YouTube. If you are here, of course, comment anything you think about The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Why So Serious Pod on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. All right, well, this will be your official spoiler warning if you haven't finished The Last of Us Season 2. We waited a very long time for you to finish it, so, I mean, come on. You should have finished it right now, right? So, episode 5, Ellie and Dina navigate perilous Seattle on a vengeance mission for Abby. As spores plague a hospital, Ellie confronts and brutally beats Nora in a fungus-filled basement, demanding Abby's whereabouts, crossing a dark moral line. The episode closes on a haunting flashback of Joel underscoring Ellie's deep grief and resolve. So we find out in the beginning of this episode that the infection is airbound now, where one of the guys said it's in the air. So he told them to seal them off to keep it from spreading. So that is kind of interesting. So maybe this disease is evolving. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah. People were kind of wondering, right, if they're going to bring that over from the game, because that was a pretty big aspect in the game of the second one I heard.
Right. And this is day 2 in Seattle, and Dina and Ellie are trying to figure out a way into the hospital. And the scars are totally like the Amish. That was a pretty funny line. Like they just live off the earth. You know, no electricity. They would have been denying it even if there was it.
Yeah.
And there's a pile of dead bodies under the Feel Her Love sign. The cult leader. And this is where Ellie kind of reconsiders everything and questions her decisions to be here. Like, I don't know about this. We should probably just go home. And then this is where Dina starts talking about her mom and sister dying. And she basically says, well, not watching them, about them dying. She said, if I had to watch them get beat to death while I was forced to would that change anything? Like, I would hunt them down forever as well. Like, that doesn't change anything for me. I would be doing the same thing right now. So that kind of gets Ellie back into it.
Right.
They make it to this big ass building, and the line was pretty funny. Haunted but empty. Oh, just like us. And that would be that. It was definitely a very video game-esque scene where you have to go through a building, and it is very like sketchy as you're going through there because a zombie is gonna pop up.
Right.
And then there's the smart zombies are back.
Oh.
And I guess they're called stalkers. That's what they're called. And
Dude.
there's not just one, there's an army of them. It's crazy. And they like coordinate their attacks.
I like the way this was shot. It was very unnerving. The stalkers are insanely creepy, way more scary than the clickers or the whatever that massive blob is known as, bloaters. There you go. Dude, these things are creepy. And the way they shot it, where they're popping up and they seem like they're almost hiding or running away, but really they're almost setting you up like a wolf pack. Super fast. And then when you started seeing all these silhouettes popping out one after another, like the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up during this scene. It was definitely, it was shot really well. It got me into the moment where I felt like I wasn't super into the episode at that point until that scene started rolling through.
Right. And Jesse and Tommy come up in the clutch, save them last minute. Let's go. Then we get a scene with the scars, and this was wild. The wolf guy that's captured, and it doesn't even seem like they want information. Like they just didn't even really ask questions, just guts him as he's hanging. It's like, holy crap, these people are wild.
Was that the kid where Ellie wanted to save him and Jesse was like, no, it's not our war? Was that before that?
No, that's the finale.
Scene?
That's the finale.
Okay.
Yeah.
It all
No
got
worries.
mixed up in my head.
And this is where Dina gets shot in the leg with the arrow as well. So this is where,
that's right.
The chaos kind of starts. They run and hide.
That's right.
And Ellie goes solo to the hospital. She's like, fuck this, I'm still doing it. And she finds Nora. Of course, one of the girls who was there back when Joel got a little...
Took some golfing lessons.
And this is where things get a little wild, a little dark. She's, tell me where Abby is and maybe I'll let you live. And then Nora, she definitely had me in the first half, where she says, I'm sorry you saw it happen. It was a terrible way he died, and that little bitch got what he deserved. It's like, holy shit.
You done messed up now, Nora.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't have said that. I mean, I guess she was going out either way.
Yeah, I mean, we know that. I don't know if she knew that at that point, but after that, she was for sure donezo. And after she tells her and like reveals to her what Joel did, like that psycho killed everybody, blah 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 blah, and Ellie's just staring there. And at this point, we don't know yet. We don't get the flashback scenes yet at this point, so we didn't know if she already fully knew already. And she just goes just deadpan, calm as can be. I know, right before doing what she does, and it was like, oh shoot, okay, so. Did she know in her heart, or did she actually know? And then obviously in the next episode, we get the flashback where it reveals that she did, in fact, know what happened. But we didn't at that point. It was interesting.
Right. And when Nora found out, she's like, you're her. You're real. Like, she thought she was like, a Jedi, a myth.
Right.
Yeah, that was a crazy reveal, because at that moment you didn't know how much Ellie knew too. That was kind of made it more impactful.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, Ellie, let's just shoot her now. Let's just put her out of her misery, and just like starts beating her legs in with a pipe. I'm guessing.
Light her tendons on fire, make her feel it. What?
So you like that, huh? You like her getting revenge for Joel?
Hey, man, when you drop that line about Joel at the end, then yeah, you can get strung up for all I care. Whatever Ellie's feeling at that point, I feel like you got it coming.
So, and then the episode ends with the quick flashback of, Joel waking her up in the morning. And let's move on to episode 6. Do you have anything else for that?
No. I didn't love the episode. It was all right.
Right.
But it definitely was on the lower scale for me for this season.
Right. The zombie scene was cool. Jesse and Tommy saving him was cool, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, the Ellie and Dina scenes don't
Until
really
the
land
end.
much
and
for
then
me.
the end was crazy.
Yeah.
Episode 6 lays bare Joel and Ellie's fractured relationship, born of love, lies, and sacrifice, setting the emotional stakes for what's left of the season. And we go back to Austin in 1983. Now, I'm going to say this might be my favorite episode of the season, just because of how good it was. I don't know if it's the best. I mean, maybe Joel dying was the best, but I wouldn't call that my favorite. You know what I mean? Did you like this
Sorry,
episode?
wait. Episode 6
Mm-hmm.
was it my favorite of the season?
I-
No, but it was good though. It was unique. It was a different setup than most structures for a TV show episode go. We obviously got a lot of information on it. We got more Pedro Pascal, so it was the most Pedro in the season. So that it definitely upped
Maybe
it
that's
for
why I
that
liked it so
reason.
much.
But yeah, it was probably my second favorite. It was a really good episode.
And we get a young Tommy and Joel, and he broke his jaw for stealing a candy bar, so the dad is a little tough on him.
Yeah.
But he says, when it's your turn, I hope you do a little better than me, which of course revolves to the end of the episode, which was a little bit of a tearjerker.
And that was heartbreaking in itself though. Just that
Yeah,
scene before we even
right.
get the full circle, like it was genuine, and he was just like, "Look, my dad beat the shit out of me, and I just hope that once you get to that point, you do better than me." Great acting. I'm pretty sure that's Kate Bishop's stepdad from Hawkeye. It's also Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul, who is Pedro or Joel's dad there, Joel and Tommy's
That's
dad.
right.
But it was a really solid intro scene there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is where we get into the flashbacks progressing through Ellie and Joel post Seattle. Correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's her birthday every year, so it's going by her birthday every time. And the first one is obviously the happiest one. She gets the guitar as a present, plays a song for her. She's eating the cake like a freaking wild animal. And then, did you have it? I mean, that was a shorter one. Should we move on
Yeah,
to
it was
our
nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Pedro can play. Maybe
Right.
if that was actually him.
I feel like he can. He seems like the type.
Yeah, he does.
And then 1 year later, we're starting to talk about the birds and the bees. And she says she won't get pregnant if you let me train for patrol. I was like, okay, little bargain there.
Kind of got Joel there, especially with the whole Joel. You and Jesse have a thing? I see the way you look at him. I got an eye for this kind of thing. She's like, yeah, I don't think you do.
Yeah, no, I don't think you do. And they go to the museum. And this would be pretty cool for a kid born in the apocalypse going to see, like,
For sure.
dinosaurs, a recording of Apollo 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that'd be really cool.
And the spaceship scene was cool. How he got the recording and the helmet and had her sitting there, and she felt like she was blasting. I know there's the memes about it, which are pretty funny, but it was a cool scene for her.
Well, it's just so funny because the memes leading up to this episode, everybody was kind of already calling their Buzz Lightyear, which I'm not saying I support or refute said memes. I'm just saying the memes exist. Hell, he looks like Buzz Lightyear. And then we get an episode where she's actually in an astronaut uniform. And so that obviously
Wait,
spurred
the
the meme
memes came
creators even
first?
more. Yes,
Oh,
dude.
no.
Before that episode, I was seeing Buzz Lightyear stuff after like episode 2 and 3, and after the I'm gonna be a dad, it was a Buzz Lightyear meme. And then a couple episodes later, she's in an astronaut outfit. I was like, oh, this is not gonna help. This is not gonna help her with those memes.
It's pretty funny. But you do see the fireflies. Did you notice that outside?
Yes.
The flying outside,
Yeah.
where she kind of stopped and stared at him for a second. And 1 year later again, and now it's drug, tattoos, and sex. We're fucking getting on here.
Tatted stoner lesbian real quick there.
And it's like, crap, here's the downfall. Here's where they start to grow apart. She's going to move to the garage. And I'm thinking like, hey, man, do better than your dad did right here. Like, what happened to you. Let's try and do better. Try and maybe sympathize a little bit. I know he's just super old school. You know what I mean?
Right. It did get, I mean, so okay, overall the episode, I know there's still a little bit more left though. But at this point, this flashback, I did start to feel like, all right, this whole episode does feel like a daddy daughter teenage drama episode, with a lot of the back and forth. So I liked a lot of the aspects of it, but at this point, this most recent flashback this year or whatever it got to, it did start to wear on me a little. Like, okay, so this whole episode is just kind of their drama and their relationship, which is fine to an extent, but
yeah. And then we're gonna skip 2 years later. It's a total of 5, huh? She has questions about Salt Lake City and some solid ones too. But
yeah, dude, she was asking the hard hitting questions in that lineup, like.
he's like, you know what? Your birthday present is your first patrol. Let's move on from that conversation.
Moving on.
And you know they don't spend as much time together as they used to. And as they're out on patrol, they get called for backup, and they find out Eugene is bit, and this is where we get the backstory where the therapist husband.
Yeah.
You know they're in the first episode. Eugene got bit, and this actor has been in a ton of movies. I'm sure you recognized him. He's
he's Richie
in Sopranos. Yep.
Richie in The Sopranos. He's Cypher in The Matrix, the bad guy who betrays everybody. He's in a couple of other things too. I think he's in Memento too. But yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah, he's normally an asshole or some kind of bad guy.
Yes. Really good at being a big time dick.
But a different character for him in this. And this was pretty sad. He wants to say goodbye to his wife one last time. Like, he wants to... I mean, you can't blame the guy. And
No.
And Joel's like, no, like, you know, I don't want to do this. And he's like, you know, I'll take you to a nice view. And he's like, I don't need a view. I need Gale. So what did you think of Joel in this scene? Like, it's risky, but at the same time, like, damn, man, that's pretty fucked up.
No, this was wild by Joel. Like, this was indefensible. Like, I'm trying to have Joel's back on this, and I'm watching this play out like, all right, well, maybe something happened while Ellie was gone, and it forced him to pull the trigger. You know, something obviously happened here. No, he just blatantly lies to Ellie. Says, okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll let him see his wife. Ellie, go take care of this. I promise. We'll let him wait, blah, blah, blah. And then he just instantly walks him to the cliffside to shoot him. And then just straight up lies to Ellie at that point. Like, added all this extra stuff too that was super unnecessary. Like, yeah, he said he really loved his wife, and he said he really liked you too, Ellie. He said I was a pretty good guy. He said all this like, he just starts adding in all this stuff that he allegedly said, and it was just like, Joel, so over the top with the lie there. You just added in so much. It was just like terrible. Why couldn't you wait and see? Worst case, you start seeing effects, you shoot him. Right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the argument with why don't cops shoot suspects in the legs because, you know, in the heat of the moment, it's not as easy to do. You just have to kill them kind of thing. Maybe that's a deal with the zombie. I don't know. But you could have just tied him up and left him there. You could have tied him up and waited at the very least, and he couldn't have ran away. It just blew my mind. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, pretty fucked up. Yeah, when they go back, he lies and Ellie tells the truth. Like, no, that was very awkward.
It was super awkward.
So, and then 9 months later, and this is where we get the New Year's Eve party. He's on the porch with the guitar. And they're both too similar of a person. You know, they both are too stubborn, too hard-headed. So that's where they're definitely crashing against each other.
Dude, and the quick thing Maria said to Joel during this, Tommy's wife, heartbreaking because you know he's about to die, and they've kind of clashed heads, but she like opened up and was like, you're a part of your family to us, you know, we want everything best for you, like, right. We love you, we are a family. I was like, that's great to know that they finally reconciled that just in time for him to die.
Yeah. Pretty sad. And this is where Ellie finds out the truth about what happened. But she says, I knew the whole time. And this is one last chance to tell the truth or I'm out of here. Like, I'm done. And I was thinking, like, Joel, like, Do it,
Same.
bro. Like, like, just tell the truth, man. Like, she clearly already knows. And he was thinking about it, too. He's like, fuck, can I get out of this one last time? And he's like, nah, I can't. I got
Just
it.
give in, brother.
And, making a cure would have killed you, he says. And she's like, that's my purpose. Like, my life has no meaning now. Like, I could have been the savior to humanity. So,
Yeah. So I want to ask you about this because she asks him that. She says, was it possible? Like, was the cure possible? If you would have left it be, would they have found the cure? And he says yes, which to me, I don't think that was ever proven. They didn't even run which I guess I saw a little clip about like an actual doctor like watching The Last of Us stuff and going like, yeah, no, that's not realistic either. I would have shot the doctors too. They didn't run blood tests. They didn't run any type of test that would determine if that procedure would have even resulted in an actual cure. They didn't do any of that. It was blind faith. She was the only one with the cure. They didn't take blood samples or anything. They just went straight to brain surgery. And so to me, it was weird. It was like, I don't think it was a yes. So I feel like he could have easily said, I don't know. And neither did they. So my question to you is, if he didn't answer yes and he answered, we don't know, they don't even know if it would have worked, do you think Ellie would have been able to forgive him easier at that point? Like, yeah, I killed them, but there was no proof that this was even going to work, compared to saying, I killed them even though it absolutely would have brought about a cure. I feel like there would have been a big difference there. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree with that. Like,
okay.
Because, yeah, that is true. Why didn't they, like, run some more tests before going straight to killing her?
Right? Like, what's the rush? It's already the apocalypse, right? I mean, I don't know.
That is interesting. And he says, if I had a second chance, I would do it all over again because I love you in a way you can't understand.
Yeah.
That was, Pedro Pascal absolutely killed it with the emotion. You could see he was like broken in that scene talking to her.
Yeah, he was the perfect casting for this. He really did do an outstanding job with this role. Yeah, because he had his daughter. He already lost a daughter. He wasn't going to lose one again. You know, he's got that backstory, that we learned about in season 1. So, makes sense.
Yeah. And he finishes with, I hope you do a little better than me. And that definitely got me teared up a little bit when he said that, because just knowing that he's about to die and everything. I mean, everything he did for her, and it wasn't even his daughter because he lost his daughter. You know, it was his daughter, not his biological daughter, after he lost her at the beginning of the apocalypse. So just everything he went through, an amazing character.
Yeah.
Ring the bells once more for Joel as we see him one last time.
I thought we were going to see a flashback of him dying again. Just show one more time.
All right, in the finale, Ellie, Dina, and Jesse continue their hunt for Abby in Seattle. Ellie's obsession leads her to the aquarium, where she kills Owen and a pregnant Mel on accident, deepening her moral downfall. Meanwhile, tensions rise as the WLF prepares for war in the Seraphites. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The episode ends in a shocking theater confrontation where Jesse is killed and Abby ambushes Ellie, setting up a dramatic cliffhanger as their face-off cuts to black. That is interesting about Ellie's morals, her downfall. So I do wonder, with Abby being confirmed to be the lead of season 3, are we gonna start to switch sides without Joel around anymore? Do you think they could convince you in season 3 from Abby's perspective that she's right?
I think they could if they do it right.
Right.
I think they totally could, and I think that's one of their few chances they have at bringing back the audience being captivated with the story at this point. I think they've lost a lot of momentum, and I think that would be a really good way of doing it, especially because, again, and this, I'm not saying this is reasonable, the hate that's out there for Bella Ramsey right now. There's a lot of trash talking going on, but with that being said, this would be your opportunity to capitalize on. All right, let's lean into Abby and Isaac here with. Oh God, why did I forget his name right there?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright, with Jeffrey Wright's character coming in and Abby, you've got this whole nother side of things to this story. I think it'd probably be the smart move. And that's the reason I'm really looking forward to season 3 is because of Jeffrey Wright's character, honestly, more than anything. I want to see this background to the Wolves versus Seraphites.
He was barely in this season, really.
Yeah, and he hooked me immediately. In like 28 seconds, he was on screen.
So the episode opens with Jesse helping Dina with their wounds. She's still got that gnarly one on the leg. The baby's okay, though. And I was kind of I was worried for Dina this episode because I don't know what her fate is. So I was wondering if she's going to make it or not. Mm-hmm. Ellie's a little bit scratched up. She's all right, though. But she tells her about Nora. And she says, I made her talk. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. I just kept hurting her. It's like, damn, girl. Maybe she deserved it, but maybe she didn't. So she does kind of have that kind of second thought about it. Like I might have, it was too easy. I went too far, too easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't bother me at all, this scene. I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah, And then I watched the YouTube side by side of the video game scene compared to this scene. And it's pretty much the same exact lines, but I was like, oh, okay, that did make the show look worse. The video game scene was way more emotional and like I felt like it was just more immersive. And I was like, all right, that was better. But again, when I was watching the show, I didn't think it. I just thought, okay, she's having some conflicts here.
Yeah. She tells Dina about what Joel did to save her, and Dina's upset because I'm guessing she never told her about it. Is that why she kept that secret from her?
Yeah, because they thought they were on a redemption revenge tour here for an unjust murder of Joel, and now she's just being told, oh, it was revenge because you guys slaughtered their whole family? Like, oh, okay. Like, thought this was out of nowhere murder.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I get that.
And they leave her behind to go get Tommy, right? And then they're going to come back and get her. Jesse and Ellie start having a conversation. Ellie kind of being a brat. Jesse says, they searched for her for 2 days. Like, it wasn't easy finding you. Like, it took a long time. And confronts her about Dina being pregnant. Ellie's like, I'm the dad. You can't be the dad.
Dude.
And then he said, I'm a father, which means I can't die. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
and he's dead.
And he's dead.
Like, that's what that means. Yeah. Yeah. Jesse, you kind of doomed yourself with that line.
And the soldiers run up, but it's actually a random scar they're looking for, and that's the kid that they pull away. And Ellie almost tries to be a hero, but he stops him because, this is not our war. And we get that quick Jeffrey Wright appearance where he's preparing for his war. And everyone appears to be acting like Abby is the most important member of their team. So everyone's like concerned about her so much and her whereabouts, distracting them when the scars are about to attack.
Right.
The library is not a bad place to hide out. I mean, shit, read a couple books, maybe pick up Lord of the Rings or something. I'm sure they got a copy in there.
Right.
And there is a little love triangle going on here. We'll see if it gets resolved. It will be pretty soon here. Not in the way you think, though.
It's not in your traditional way of resolving these things, but yeah.
But they think they know where Tommy is after the walkie-talkie goes off. And once they go outside, they see the wheel, and Ellie realizes that Abby is in the aquarium. And they have one last little confrontation with each other. And he basically says, I voted no because everything you do for you. Like, you don't think about other people. You're very vengeful, not thinking about others. And he says, she says, you let a kid die because he's not in your community. My community was murdered and beaten right in front of me. It's like, okay, like, yeah, like I see both sides here, like it's hard.
Yeah. I'm still on Jesse's side with the whole thing, though. She's totally right. Everything she does is just for her, which, to be fair, she's a survivor in an apocalypse, but in a community that's trying to get, normal life back on hand, yeah, I can see why she'd be really obnoxious.
Right. And the lightning displaying the aquarium in the city in the background was a super cool shot. Like how
Yeah.
it kept lighting it up as she was going across the water.
Those scenes of her crossing the water and the explosions happening in the background on the island with the wolves and everything, that was really cool. Yeah, it was well shot.
It would be cool if you lived in Seattle and you watched this show. I wonder how, like, if you could recognize certain areas and stuff.
Little aspects, yeah.
Right. But going sideways on a wave, I don't think is a good idea, right? Isn't that exactly what you're not supposed to do?
Going sideways?
She veered sideways as the tidal wave was going. Aren't you supposed to try to hit it straight over and hope that does it?
I don't know. I think at that point she
She
was
was
screwed
either
regardless.
way,
Yeah,
I
but
think going
yeah.
sideways just an immediate, flip over.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to hit it at an angle of a sort, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, she was pretty screwed.
I mean, she's just lucky she washed up on shore totally fine and just went back at it again with the boat right by her. So I'd say that was pretty convenient.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah.
But the little boy just wants to see some violence. The little boy that finds her he's crazy.
Jesus.
But the village being under attack, just impeccable timing. And the bombs are going off as she escapes. And she finally makes it back to the aquarium. No more tidal waves, just that one.
Yep, she's good now.
I wonder if you have to go across the ocean in the game, because that would be crazy.
Probably. That seemed like a video game thing that'd be super frustrating, unnecessary level where you can't fall out of the boat or something.
Right. The aquarium's a pretty creepy place these days. And Owen and Mel are down there, but they don't know where Abby is. And she's trying to get them to show him where she is on the map. And Owen tries to kill her at the last second, shoots him through the neck, and it grazed Mel right behind him. And she's pregnant. And she has to save the baby at the last second. And honestly, I don't blame Ellie. I don't know if I could do that. And honestly, when you pull the baby out, you're in an aquarium. And what are all these pregnant women going off and doing missions for? Like, stay home. Especially her. She was like 9 months pregnant. Like, why are you sneaking off into nowhere? Like, hey, maybe you can go off and do your thing. I'll have the baby. Be safe. Like, and same thing with Dina. Like, what are we doing? Like, stay home.
Stay home.
We need to repopulate the earth.
I don't know, but I definitely wouldn't have if I was Ellie either. I'm not doing. So, I'm not gonna get into this, but I tried to help a chick hatch out of an egg, and that alone was traumatizing. And when I was trying to get it out of the eggshell and saw blood and stuff coming, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to save a chick's life.
You thought you were killing it or something?
Absolutely not. Am I cutting open a stomach to pull a baby out? Yeah, no, I would. That's traumatizing. Just let it go. Because what are you gonna do? Like you said, if you successfully remove it. You're in enemy territory and you came over here on a boat in a storm. You're just going to take a newborn back with you. Like, what are you going to do with the baby? There's nothing to be done.
No one's going to shoot you with a no one's going to shoot you with a newborn baby, right?
The scars might, but yeah.
Give it to them. They would do some fucking weird shit with it. Never mind. Don't give it to them.
Probably.
I thought Ellie was about to be a 2-time dad right there.
I can do this. I'm a father.
But Tommy and Jesse arrive right afterwards. And Ellie's upset that they have to die, but Abby gets to live. And right as Ellie and Jesse are making amends, where, he says, Tommy didn't have to convince me to come save you. I would have done it anyways. And he says, you would have set the world on fire to come save me if I was taken.
Right. Real quick before that, the death of Owen and Homegirl there, in the video game, it was way more intense. She shot Owen, I think, And then homegirl ran up on Ellie and tried to stab her, and they got into a fight. Ellie turned the knife around back on her and stabbed her in the throat. And then Owen was still alive but half dead on the ground and was like, she's pregnant. And Ellie just found out. And so Tommy and homeboy run into the room, and the first thing they see is Ellie standing over a pregnant dead woman with a knife in her hand. And so they didn't know what happened. It made it seem like Ellie was being a savage. So like that was a way better way than the show did it, in my opinion. Like that would have been way more intense. Tommy and I keep forgetting his name. Jesse think that Ellie just straight up murdered a pregnant woman with a knife. Like even though that's not what happened. But anyway, I thought that would have been a more tense way to go with it than the show version.
Right, especially if you're trying to convince people to take each side in the story.
Ellie's losing it. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Anyway, and
sorry, yeah.
right as they run out, Jesse gets shot straight through the eye by Abby. Damn it, she's back, and she is pissed off because she probably showed up at the aquarium and saw that her two friends were dead.
Yep.
And she says, I let you live and you wasted it. And clearly points the gun at her face and shoots it. So I don't know if she misses on purpose, or does Abby go or does Ellie go eye patch season 3 or something? Like
the Carl treatment from The Walking Dead. My guess is Dina pops up and fires a shot because she's around that building somewhere, isn't she? And she probably heard the gunshot of Jesse getting shot, so it's probably her waddling up, and maybe she's the one who fired the shot. Because I don't know that we saw a muzzle flash; we just heard the gunshot.
Someone else shot the gun.
So that's my guess, and then I'm assuming we'll continue from that. But
Abby dies. No, that wouldn't make sense. And we get a flashback to the Seahawks Stadium. Seahawks.
Bunch of losers.
So our tease for season 3 that it will be all about Abby. So, do you have a quick overall thoughts and rating of the season?
Yeah. Overall, the season was okay. Episode 2 is fantastic, and it would have been even more fantastic if it weren't for internet spoilers. But it was a great episode of TV. It just was. It was a great episode. But being honest, it kind of dropped off a cliff after that for me. There's a couple good episodes, but if just overall, there wasn't a whole lot to bite into. Definitely missed Joel's presence and charisma that he kind of carried throughout season 1. And the rest of the season just didn't offer much to me. Ellie's character kept annoying me. The show writers made some odd changes from the game, which is odd because he wrote the game too. So he made changes to his own work. But overall, it just kind of dropped off quite a bit for me from season 1. So I'm somewhat interested in season 3, like I said earlier, because of Jeffrey Wright and Abby's story, not necessarily the main story. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But overall, my rating for it was a 7.3 out of 10. One of my lower ratings, surprisingly. That's down there. So,
well, I have a little bit higher. Yeah, I think episode 2 was my favorite, and then I really did enjoy episode 6. There were some good. I think each episode had a good moment in it. You know, there wasn't like a completely bad episode. There were just
agreed
moments that were slower or not as interesting. So I have it at a 7.9. I did have it right.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, I predicted 7.8. Okay, 7.9.
Oh, wow, you predicted it.
It's close.
7.9. Yes, so right below an 8. I think 2 and 6 were close to a 9, and then the rest were probably 7s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fair. A little underwhelming coming off of last season.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean the Joel death scene was crazy. Like they definitely killed that. I guess they.
Oh, they did.
Killed it. He killed it.
I know he's dead.
Hey, you want to talk about another video game?
Absolutely.
So Red Dead Redemption. So Dave, I'm just gonna open the floor to you as the one who most recently finished this. Give me some, overall thoughts on the game as a whole.
Overall thoughts is I slept on this game for
Way too long.
about
2018.
8 years. Oh my God, yeah, 7 years. Slept on this game for 7 years. Don't know what I was doing. I played Red Dead Redemption back in the day. I don't think I ever played Red Dead Revolver. I think that was a little too early. But boy, I slept on this game. About halfway through, it was already in contention for possibly my favorite game of all time. And by the time I finished it, it absolutely reached that level. This is my favorite video game of all time. My favorite game. The most long-lasting enjoyment I have gotten out of a video game. I mean, the story is incredible. The characters are great. The world building in itself, you get so immersed in this story. So much more than I really have in so many video games. But not only that, the open world aspect of it, the freedom and the decisions that affect so many different things throughout it. I could spend a day just hunting and fishing if I wanted to. I could spend a day doing bounty posters. Like, I don't need the missions. I can just exist in that world and find entertainment anywhere. It was just such a fun game. So yeah, I ended up beating it. 190 hours by the time I hit the end of the epilogue, which I think the average is 70. So I'm not kidding when I say there would be certain sessions I'd hop on and I would just hunt and fish and like bring stuff back to the camp, customize my outfit, and have no problem, no boredom, absolutely loving every minute of it. So I finished it. I played it a ton. I started playing after the epilogue a little bit to find like Easter eggs, the gunslingers, famous gunslinger missions and stuff. And then I ended up loading a save spot at 19% in chapter 2. I was like, you know what, maybe that mission's back here and I can get it there. By the way, it turns out the whole time I had the photos in my satchel. I could have done the mission at any point. I just didn't know it.
I remember
But so I started playing. Yeah. There's a few where it happened so early and a lot happened that you just forgot that you grabbed certain things. But I was just going back to 19% just to like get a few things and see those aspects. And next thing I know, I'm at 33%. I'm in chapter 3 again, playing through it again.
Oh, whoops.
And I, at this point, could definitely realistically see me playing to the end of the epilogue again. So
no.
I don't know what's going to happen next.
I don't know.
But I'm liking it so far. What about you?
Well, I finished it probably, 6 months ago? Maybe?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Maybe like 4. I don't know. I've kind of blacked out over time with this
Right.
game.
Yeah, no, I think I played it in 2025. Yeah. It wasn't over 6 months ago, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a slow start when you're in the snow. I definitely think it's a slow start where the first couple hours, you can't even like walk fast in the snow, like you're literally trudging around. But once you get down into Valentine, that's the first city you're in, then things start to really kick off. I mean, there's no game with more interesting side characters either. You know what I mean? Every character in the crew has their own personality, their own, you get a story or a few missions with at least all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, Arthur might be like one of the best like characters in a video game. You know what I mean? Like he's
a good man.
He's a good man. Like, unless you play low honor, I guess he isn't.
Oh. Wow.
So we were both high honor, right? You ended up as a high honor guy.
I ended as like 80 to 90% high honor, but
Okay.
there were points in like chapter 4 and 5 where I was like,
same.
oh shoot, I'm near the bottom here. Like, I don't even know how I got to that point, because for the most part, I would pick the good guy answers, but I would just accidentally kill people in town, and then I'd have to kill a bunch of people chasing me and, cover up murders. So that would drop it a bit, but
Dude, okay, you just reminded me. There's a random bar up at like the northern part of the map, right when you get back from Cuba, that little town.
okay.
And the first time I went back there, I was pissed off. I asked for a drink, and some guy like asked me a question, so I antagonized him. And then he pulled his gun out, so I killed every person in the bar, right? And then made my way out.
Of course. I mean, yeah,
Come
naturally.
on.
What were you supposed
And
to
then
do?
and then I went back a second time to this place. And I forgot what happened again, but the same thing happened where I ended up murdering everyone. So there's this little bar in the top of the map that never wants me back.
That's the funny thing about it, though. When you do stuff like that and then you go back, you'll just hear like 2 or 3 different guys like, look, man, we don't need trouble like last
Yeah,
time, or like,
right.
hey, dude, get out of here. We don't need
Mhm.
death. It's like, and then you'll press greet, and it's like, I think you got me confused. I got that kind of face. Sure.
Yeah, right.
But it's just they all remember what you've done in the past. Even down to like side missions I did with Arthur. I arrested a bounty, Tilly, one of Tilly's, the guy who was abusing Tilly. But if you choose to not kill him, then down the road as John Marston, he's one of the bounties you find, and he starts talking about Tilly and Arthur and like. So
That's
there's so many little things like that, yeah, that end up
Right.
playing out over the years.
Hmm. Even the guy who was looking for his friend for the last 8 years on the side
Yeah,
of
I
the road.
killed him after a while.
There you go. I mean,
When I went back to the 20% game, I just killed him. I said, "Bud, you look for your friend for 7 years. I'm just gonna stop you."
you're time traveling. So, what do you think of Dutch? So, Dutch starts off as the Blackwater incident happens before the game starts, and then he's cool. I kind of liked him, but I always had a suspicion about him. And then obviously
Right.
as the game progresses, he gets more and more delusional. This reality that is never going to happen, this happy ending that no one else sees but him. So, what do you think of Dutch? I mean, just a great character.
Yeah, man, I think he's got a plan, Arthur. I've got a plan. We need more money. They wrote him great because I'm with you. I liked him at the beginning. I somewhat trusted him. There was that little like he's kind of a sketchy fellow, but I think he's got
It's this time of
yeah, but he's got the group's best interest in mind for everything he's doing, and then they do just a great job at every chapter. It's like, I don't know about you, Dutch. I'm getting a little more and a little more. And by the end of by chapter 5, not even 6, when we got back from Cuba, I was trying to shoot him before missions and stuff. I was like, all right, I'm done with you,
Yep.
Dutch and Micah both. Yeah, I think it was chapter 5 where it was like, that's it. This guy is an absolute scumbag. But it's a great character because again, you do kind of look at him as like the leader, father figure type thing at the beginning of it, and I progressively you start getting a little bit more skeptical of the guy. But super interesting. They did a great job, especially because he's in Red Dead 1,
right.
which again, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel to Red Dead Redemption, and his story concludes in Red Dead Redemption there in a pretty interesting way. I don't know if you've seen the clips of how, his story ends, but let's just say he ends at a low point. But great character, great anti. I don't even know what you would call him. I mean, he's a villain at the end of it, but he wasn't the whole game.
A great character, maybe.
Yeah. Because even at the end of the epilogue, which
Right.
again, spoilers out there if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure we're spoiling everything here. At the end of the epilogue, though, he's the one who ends up stepping up and saves John's life or saves Sadie's life by shooting Micah,
Yeah.
and then he just takes off. So he's a complex character.
Right. Let's talk about Micah, that fucking piece of shit.
Do we have to? Do we have to talk about this guy?
I didn't like him from the start. I always knew he was a piece of shit. Should have never. I see so many TikToks where they don't do the mission to save Micah.
Save him.
Yeah, they like do. It's like him out camping and fishing. It's like I'm doing everything before I can save Micah, leaving him in jail as long as possible. I actually waited without even really knowing what happens with him in the end. I did wait a good amount of time before because it's way over on the other side of the map. So I'm gonna do all
Right.
this stuff first.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think
So-
about Micah?
Well, my buddy Mac told me because he loves this game too, and Cole. They both were big fans of this game, and Mac told me, he goes, Micah is going to be one of the most hated people of your life. Like you're gonna absolutely hate this scumbag. And so I already didn't trust him. And the first time you interact with him, he like talks trash to you or calls you something. I was like, okay, so same. I didn't go and save him until the game literally forced me. And Dutch, every time I came back, would be like, you gotta go get Micah, Arthur Micah's in jail. I was like, I'm not doing it, Dutch. And then eventually the game can't progress without you rescuing him. So
And then when you save other characters later, Dutch gets all pissed off
he's
about it.
pissed. Yeah, you save John and he's pissed, and then we find out he was never even going to save John. He was just going to leave him in the prison the whole time.
Right.
Scumbag.
And when Micah starts calling him Black Lung, That pissed me off so bad. It's like, you motherfucker. Like,
Scarface for John, Black Lung for Arthur. The guy did have his nicknames. But again, a good character because I truly did hate him. I still do, even though I've killed him and I'm replaying it. I still hate the guy. So a good character as well. And again, this still is not the villain of the game really yet.
yeah. Who's your other? Give me a couple other characters from the crew that were your favorites.
I mean, my favorite duo is Arthur and John. Love the
Right.
banter, the big
Right.
brother, little brother. That's an obvious one. But my other one, Sadie. Sadie is awesome. Every mission you do with Sadie's a blast because she's insane and she's a savage. And I love that she rolls into the epilogue and you still get to do a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
with her in the epilogue. So she's one of my favorites for sure. Charles is another absolute favorite of mine. You go hunting with him the first time you do stuff with him, which is fun. But he's just a savage. You find all the buffalo that are being killed, and you find the poachers, and you just see him. Oh, what business is yours? He pulls out the cut off shotgun, shoots the dude in the face. It's that business of mine. He's just losing it. Like you're like, oh, this dude's a good one to have on my team. All right, here. Charles and Lenny were legends.
The Native American storyline is a good one that kind of ties in with him
It was
later.
great. Yes, I loved how they worked that in with Charles and Eagle Falls.
Eagle
Shoot.
Flies, yeah, that sounds
Eagle
right.
Flies. I think it's Falls actually. But anyways,
No, Rain Falls. Isn't it Rain Falls too? Or is it Eagle? I think it's Eagle Flies and Rain Falls.
I think you're right. It is. It's Eagle Flies. Yeah. So
And
Eagle
Rain Falls
Yep.
might be the
Rain
kid?
Falls son.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Eagle Flies is the son. Rain
Okay,
Falls
right.
is the
Got it.
dad. But anyway, that whole thing with the Waipititi Native American reservation, their whole story with the military was a super cool wrap up
Yes.
there. Dutch, that was one of the biggest things that
Oh,
made me pissed
yeah.
at Dutch was the way he was just
Sacrificing.
straight up, just manipulating the hell out of them to be sacrificed for his plan. Like, that legitimately got me angry. But yeah, the fact that there's that many side characters I just listed, and Jose is a legend. He's a G. But I think my favorites out of the group would be John, Sadie, and Charles, which
I'd
are
have
all
to-
in that blog.
Right, I'd go with John and Lenny. Lenny was dope.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Lenny's death too was, and it was just like so out of nowhere, where you're running across the rooftop, he gets shot, and all of a sudden he's on the ground. You're like, oh shit, like Lenny's dead, and you have to just kind of move. I kind of stood there for a second, like gave him a
Yeah.
moment, and then moved on. Like, all right, man, I gotta go. I'm sorry.
You know how I showed my respect to him? I didn't try to loot his dead body immediately.
Oh my
I didn't even
God.
try. I didn't
my
even try it,
God.
okay?
Why'd you
That's when
think
you
of-
know that I
didn't
really
even-
cared about the person.
That didn't even cross my mind.
No, I'm kidding. When I said I didn't even think about it, but I was just thinking about it of that scene. But that's what makes it so hard is it's so unceremonious how he is killed because he just gets shot in the face and you have to run. He just gets left dead on a roof, and it's just like. And Dutch didn't even care again, which I think was another thing. And doesn't Hosea die in the same mission? I think Hosea and Lenny both
both of them
die, and then that's when you get sent off to Cuba or whatever, I think.
Right.
But
Yep.
brutal mission, man. That was tough.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's just really sad how the hideout becomes. In the beginning of the game, the hideout is a cool place to go. Everyone's lively. It's
awesome.
it's fun, like upgrading stuff, hanging out there, cooking some meat up. And then towards the end of the game, the vibes are just so down. Everyone's like moping around. Places they don't look as nice as they do before.
Leaving.
So. Yeah, every time you come back, it's like, oh, so and so left. They're not here anymore. Like, so that was
what do you
another
mean?
cool aspect of the game, how that progressed.
Yeah.
What
Chapter
was your favorite
Oh, yeah.
hideout?
Chapter 3, when you're just south of Rhodes, you're right on the water. It's right after Cornwall
Uh-huh.
shows up in Valentine when you're at the bar with Dutch and you guys have to leave. So yeah, you find the spot right on the water there, and that's so I just got there. We just set up camp, and immediately reminded me of this was like the peak of the gang. Everybody was happy. I think you rescue Jack at one point at this place, and then everybody has the party. No. Jack gets rescued at the Shady Bell house. Somebody else gets rescued at this one though, and everybody you have a party, you drink at this place, and it's just good vibes at this hideout. So that was my favorite.
I think
What about you?
the house they take over
Okay.
from,
Shady Bell.
that was like the last good vibes moment. You know what I mean? And it was
Yep.
cool how Arthur has his own room upstairs. I kind of like that, where he's kind of like a little VIP member of the crew by then, getting his own spot.
Yeah.
So I think that, and the one you're talking about too, by the water, is a good one.
Yeah. Just good vibes, good times.
So the final ride, which is I've also seen videos on the internet where even a guy said when the game, it's him playing the game in the beginning, and he's like, people keep saying this video game is gonna make me cry, like a video game has never made me cry. That's not gonna happen. Then it literally cuts to the final ride, and you can hear the music playing, and he's like literally like tears streaming down his face as he's playing. And that was the same with me in a way, but my wife was in the room, so I didn't want to get too emotional in front of me for a video game. But just like, even with, there's only 2 scenes in the game with that kind of music, when you're riding back from Cuba and then that final ride, and the score in both of those scenes is amazing. Like, you get so emotional, like you feel like you're Arthur, like like everything you've just been through and what's about to happen in the future, like you're just in that moment with him. So that final ride, and then of course the horse dies. And I think we had different moments with the horse. So when the horse died, what happened with you?
Dude, that whole ride. So it all changes. So if you have high honor or low honor, you have a different ride on the way out there. So when you have high honor, you're getting all the voiceovers of like people praising you, and that again, like you were saying, I started getting emotional. The music starts playing, and you start getting these comments and voiceovers of people talking about you. And it's a video game, but I'm getting like fulfillment, like feeling proud of those moments. Like, I was a good man, man. Like you're like you said, it feels like you're Arthur in it. And I knew coming into this game, I heard it was a super sad ending. Unfortunately, I knew Arthur's fate before I started playing. Again,
Same.
Spoiler, culture we live in now. So I had the opposite thought. I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. This game's gonna make me cry. And then it got to it. Yeah, absolutely. That ride. I told Megan, I was like, because I was playing it a ton. I was like, I straight up cried when this game ended. But lucky for me, it's not over yet. We got an epilogue.
You know what? I actually got
yeah.
Arthur's death spoiled in a fucking YouTube short.
Yeah.
And it was like 1 second into the video. It was like different ways
Looking
Arthur
at the
dies in Red Dead
sunrise.
Redemption. Yeah, or something. I was like, oh,
Sick.
like, okay, like didn't even give me like a 5-second heads up, like Arthur or in a Red Dead Redemption spoiler in 3, 2, 1. It was like, nope, boom, here it
Nothing.
is. Which I mean, obviously it's my fault for playing the game late, but still, it's like, give me a couple seconds at least when it's like
There's
that
just
crazy.
no decency and consideration anymore with those things. So, yeah, I got the same thing spoiled. I even got told to leave my horse behind before it, but I forgot because I wasn't 100% sure it was the final mission either at that point. Yeah. But no, so I don't know what happened, but it didn't show a send off to my horse at all. We got knocked down or whatever from the gunfire. And then all of a sudden, I'm having to run and take cover and follow John or whatever and run up the hill. And so I was thinking while playing it, like, is my horse even dead? I know people were saying that. And then I saw a clip on YouTube after I finished it of Arthur, like, caressing the horse and being like, oh, boy. And I was like, oh, my God, I didn't get that clip at all. I would have been crying even more if I saw that. Yeah, I didn't get that. They just let my horse die unceremoniously, which is even more messed up, really.
Maybe. Well, was it a new horse? How long were you riding?
It was Buell. So I got him. He's one of the more famous horses. You get him after you do a bunch of missions with this Haymitch guy. And eventually he gets killed by a legendary grizzly, and he asks you to take care of his horse. And he's super fast, really good horse. And so I used him for the last chapter of the game, I think. But I was fully bonded with it.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
was able to drift and everything around corners with him.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Just didn't get it.
because he goes back and he says, thank you for all the rides or whatever. And I was like, damn,
Oh,
man.
yeah,
Like,
I would have cried,
fuck.
100%.
Like, damn.
100% would have cried.
So yeah, and then you go up to the top, and this is the final showdown with Micah and Dutch, and obviously this is another where there's multiple different endings, but I think we both had the same one where you and Micah basically have a fist fight for a while.
Yeah.
You had that.
Because you either go down and get the gang's money, which
Right,
results
right.
in you fighting Micah in that camp with when it's all burning down, or you help John escape. And that's when you fight Micah on top of the mountain. And that's I helped John escape and fist fought Micah. Yeah.
And I guess Micah leaves you, right? He basically leaves you there.
Yeah. Because I think Dutch shows up and tells him they got to go or something.
Okay.
But I've heard that if you go to the money, you like can take out Micah's eye at least, or at least wound him a good amount before you die. And I don't know if it's mods because there are so many mods out there, but I've seen the epilogue with John where Micah only has one eye, and I'm like, wait, is that a real thing that happened because you chose to go for the money, or is this a mod? I don't know.
Well, if you play it through again, you should go for the money.
I'm going to
See what
Yeah,
happens.
that's the plan.
Right. You're like,
Well, now
John,
I have to.
you're healthy. I'm dying.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
You're gonna
I
make
feel
it,
like
man.
it's-
I know you're gonna make it. I'm gonna go take the money.
and die with it.
Yeah.
But him dying, watching the sunrise, another pretty messed up scene. But I think if low honor Arthur, I'm pretty sure you get shot in the head. Have you confirmed that?
Yes, I've seen a clip where Mike is standing above you and just shoots you right in the head.
Yeah, I think
So
that's low
and
honor.
it didn't look
Arthur.
like a mod. It looked like a legitimate like.
Cutscene. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, keep
So.
rolling, you guys.
So good thing both of us were the good versions of Arthur, or we would have got a real quick ending by Micah, but it would have given us more vengeance for the epilogue. So after Arthur dies, there is an epilogue with John Marston. It starts off pretty slow where you are the member. You're trying to, quit that cowboy life and you're living on the ranch once again. You clean up shit for the cows. You milk the cows as well. And John's just, living that basic life on the farm, trying to, restart things. So, like I said, the epilogue starts slow, but it does pick up. So, what do you think of the epilogue?
I'm grateful for the epilogue. I think you needed something like that after that depressing ending to the game.
It's a good deep breath relaxation kind of.
Yeah, man, it's so depressing seeing Arthur go down. So it's really nice to see John have a happy ending, kind of, because he does not have a happy ending in Red Dead 1, if you've played through it. So it's nice he gets that little moment, at least briefly, with his family, and you're building the farm and the house built. Oh, give me a hammer and a nail, and I'll build it.
I like that one.
It's a banger. Building the house is a blast. The whole thing. I enjoyed milking the cows. I enjoyed all the small things of John's new quest as Jim Milton. Then you get to go do bounties with Sadie, which was fun. And then you get that awesome, arguably one of the best missions in the whole game at the end of the epilogue. So
Yeah.
I thought this was really cool they did that.
Right. Yeah, the building the house scene was fun. And I was just waiting to get off the ranch. And then once you get a little money in your pocket and you can go off and kind of I just wish Red Dead Redemption 1 was the same game as Red Dead Redemption 2. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
boom.
Same
right,
quality and everything.
Right into the next one and you just continue as John Marston, but you came over and played a little bit of it. It's
Yeah.
old school, but honestly, it's still fun. I think it still could be a really fun game, and it's not as long. It's only 25 hours. Maybe you could put 40, 50 if you wanted to get real crazy, but I don't think it's as extensive as the sequel.
I'm still considering playing it through, even though, again, I know the ending. But it's so weird how it just starts off where Abigail and Jack are both just gone. And it's like, oh, apparently his family isn't with him anymore.
Right.
But, yeah, it's interesting.
So they're going to do a Red Dead 3 one day. Obviously, Rockstar takes their sweet time with games.
Mm-hmm.
GTA comes out next year, and I think they're probably have something in the works for Red Dead 3. They don't do. I mean, those are their two games, right? So, would you like a prequel with a young Arthur? Maybe Blackwater is kind of like the end of the game, which would kind of be anticlimactic, like. But it would be cool to kind of tie the knot. Or would you like post Red Dead Redemption 1 with Jack Marston, John Marston's son? Or would you like just like a totally new, maybe young Dutch or something? I don't know.
I I almost want a totally new like Wild Wild West story to just be told, kind of like GTA 6 is doing, with just a totally different storyline. It's not Michael and Franklin continued.
Red Dead's different though, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is. So if I had to choose between those, it's interesting with the Jack Marston thing, because now you're getting in the timeline of World War One, which a lot of people have talked about, and the whole atmosphere of the country is going to be a bit different than what we're expecting there. I think, if anything, I'd want to go back in time, keep it as cowboy as possible without the technological advancements moving forward. So if I had to choose between those two, I'd like a prequel of a younger Dutch and Arthur and John.
Because Red Dead 2 they're saying it's the end of the cowboy age. You know?
Right. It's the end of the outlaws. The outlaws are going away. It's a new era moving in. So I'd like to stay in the outlaw days. So yeah, either give me a prequel or give me a just totally new cowboy story.
I agree. So, I mean, would you rate this game a 10 or like a 9.99999?
I think so. I don't know. I don't have a list of video game ratings, but I would probably,
10, right?
I'd probably have this at like a 9.7. Yeah. I don't. There's only a couple of ways it could get better for me. And even the start of the game, I didn't even notice it being slow. So when JD was telling us about like, oh my God, I'm still stuck in the snow, I was like, I feel like I was only in the snow for like 10 minutes, but clearly not. It's a much longer.
Like 4 or 5 hours.
But apparently I was just enjoying the scenery and stuff, because I never once thought about like, man, this is a slow start, anything like that. I was just in it from the jump. So yeah, 9.7, which is one of the highest ratings I've ever given. I think my highest MCU movie is a 9.6.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I have it right around there too. So this game could obviously be a movie or a show. I would prefer a show. You prefer a show too, right? To really tell the story.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So let's do a quick fan cast. So yeah, basically have the whole crew here. Dave, would you like to go first? We want to go maybe back and forth for each character?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. So let's start big. Who do you got for Arthur?
Hardest one for me. Hardest one. I would have loved to have done Jeffrey Dean Morgan or Josh Brolin if they were younger. I think they were both too old for the role. I saw Tom Hardy on a lot of those ones. I guess I could see that. But I think I'm going to go with Josh. What's up?
I don't see him as a nice guy. Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, I could somewhat see it, but I don't know. I think he's too short, too. I think Arthur's a pretty big, imposing dude. So Anson Mount was something I considered. He plays Black Bolt in the MCU, but he also played in a show Hell on Wheels on AMC. It was kind of an old Western show, and he was really good in it. But I'm going with Josh Holloway. So if you've seen Lost, he's Sawyer. He's also in Yellowstone, and he's in a few other things. But I think he's absolutely got the look, and the few things I've seen him in, he does a pretty good job, and he could totally have the disposition Arthur has. Right. So we'll go Josh Holloway.
I went with Joel Edgerton. I don't know if he's too short.
Okay.
But I feel like he could definitely he could grow a beard out, look a little rugged.
For sure.
Yeah, let me know how tall he is.
He's 5'11". It's not horrible.
That's not hard. I mean, all actors are short. You can just
right. For an actor, that's pretty good height.
Right.
Josh Holloway's only 6'1", so
okay, yeah,
it's only a couple inches.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton. He can kill it. I mean, obviously, we're not thinking of, the amount of money it would take to put this cast together.
No. I didn't consider that. Although the cast I have here would be pretty reasonable, honestly, as far as budget goes. But
Yeah, me too. Kinda. It'd be expensive, but Dutch. I'm going Josh Brolin. I think Josh Brolin would kill it as Dutch.
Yep. That's a good one. That's a good one. I didn't have him on there. I actually had one of my picks for Arthur, who would be too old, but not
Right.
Josh Brolin. I had Jeffrey Dean Morgan as
I
Dutch.
like that. I like that too.
I think he'd do solid. Or Javier Bardem, Stilgar from Dune.
Ooh, I didn't think
I
of
think
that.
he could pull it off.
He
a
has the
bit,
look
so-
too.
He does. He's got the look. He's got the backwards hair, the facial structure. Even he could look it off. Look it off. He could pull it off.
Oh, I forgot to say, a younger Arthur, Kit Harington.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I don't know if he could
Yeah.
do a good gristly Southern accent, but I'm sure he could pull it off.
That's the only thing that would stop me from doing that cast. Yeah.
So, John Marston. You
Okay.
go with the one because I went with the. I had to do it.
Oh well, actually, I don't. Now I'm curious. What did you have to do?
Norman Reedus.
Okay, yeah, I saw that was the main
I mean,
fan
come
casted
on.
one. He does. He's got the stringy hair. Easily could have a facial scar.
It looks like
Um,
him.
I had him there, and then I took him out, which I'm glad I did now. Bear with me. Robert Pattinson, I think, could actually nail this. But my other pick was Josh Hartnett.
Okay.
Which I think he even already has a scar on his face,
There
if I
you go.
remember correctly. So he's already off to a good start. But if I had to pick between those two, Josh Hartnett was my number one.
Nice.
But I thought Robert Pattinson was a bigger name to drop.
There you go. Micah, our boy. How about your boy Micah? Who you got?
I got Wyatt Russell, who is a U.S. agent
There you
in the
go.
MCU right now, or Luke Grimes, who plays Casey Dutton in Yellowstone. He's really got the look. Plays a totally different personality, but I think he could do it for sure.
I got Wyatt Russell as well because I saw that
Oh.
that handlebar mustache and I was like,
Yeah, he's had it
I was
before.
like, okay, there it is. That's him right there. But he's tall. I don't want him to be taller than Joel Edgerton. I feel like he's taller than 5'11". He's probably like 6'2", right?
He's probably 6 foot. Yeah, 6'2". Yeah,
There we go. How about that?
nailed it.
So it's all right. Cameras can all make
Yeah.
Joel Edgerton the same size.
Yeah, Tom Cruise looks big sometimes, dude.
Right.
He's like 4'8".
How about Bill? Bill the Butcher.
No,
Oh, wait,
Pearson's
no.
the butcher,
Excuse me,
but
sorry.
Bill's the big tall guy. Which, by the way, since I've loaded my game, every time I see him in camp, I antagonize him and just talk trash to him. Hate that guy now.
The main antagonist in Red Redemption 1, too.
Oh, is that? I didn't even know that. Okay, I
Yeah,
know his
'cause
name came up when we
He
were
has
playing
the
it.
gang that you meet in the beginning of the game.
That's right. Okay. Well, I've got David Denman. He was Roy in The Office. Or Rory McCann, aka the Hound from Game of Thrones.
I have the Hound.
Oh, okay. Did you think David Harbour too? I saw David Harbour. I thought
I've
that
seen
was a
David
pretty
Harbour for
decent
a
one
couple of
too.
them. Yeah, that's who he
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Javier, I'm going Diego Luna.
No. All right, we had one.
That's where the
We
cast
had
gets a
one
little
with the
expensive.
same one. I actually had a dude who plays Falcon right now, and
Oh.
I always forget his name. I had him first, and
That's a
then
good
I
one.
saw a picture of Diego Luna. I was like, oh no, that looks like Javier. That's Javier right there.
All right, what about Lenny?
Lakeith Stanfield.
I saw that one on there. I went Donald
Hey.
Glover.
Yeah, that'd be good actually. I think I like that more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sadie.
All right. Yeah, who you got? I'm curious who you picked here.
I went Vanessa Kirby.
Okay. All right.
Mrs. Fantastic.
I don't hate that. Yeah.
She's got a
Well-
little spunk, little sass.
I went with another MCU heroine,
Scarlett?
Brie Larson.
Oh, I
I
thought
think
about that.
She's got that sass and that just
That's
talking
true.
trash, but you could be actually afraid of her kind of deal. Still attractive looking, but also insane. Like I could
That crossed
totally see
my mind.
Brie Larson doing it.
Charles, this was tough. I picked the voice actor because
Oh, okay.
I feel like that would also be a good nod to the video game fans picking the voice actor to pick that, to have that role. It's
Yeah.
Noshir Dalal.
Oh, that's freaking
Yeah, he's been in Star Wars too.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
The guy who betrays you. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh. Yeah.
What's
Well,
his name?
yeah.
Bodhi.
Yeah.
That's him. Oh, okay, that's wild.
Yeah, I picked him. You can do it.
Well, and I do kind of I like Roger Clark. I think is the name of the guy who
I
voices
saw
Arthur.
that as a fan cast for Arthur, and I almost picked him.
I don't want to say it. If he lost a little weight, though, he would totally nail it. Yeah, interesting. Okay. I went Taylor Lautner for his comeback role to put all of his bad roles from his past in the rear view and reinvent his career with this role here. Or a guy named Jeremiah Bitsu. He plays Monica Dutton's brother in Yellowstone. He's
Machete?
also in Breaking Bad. Machete.
What's his
he's
name? What's
probably
that guy's
in it.
name?
Danny Trejo. No, not him. He's in Breaking Bad. He's the silent dude who just sits there and watches Jesse and Walt when they're in the really nice lab, and then he ends
Never
up
seen
doing the cooking. Oh, all right, well. But I think Taylor Lautner could reinvent his career with this one there.
Right. Hosea. I got
I feel
William
like we
Dafoe.
got the same one.
Come
Yep,
on,
I knew
like,
it.
Come on.
I knew it. Oh, I had a second one I put on there too, and it's not there now,
Well-
and I'm a bit confused. But
I put another one on there
Oh.
because I saw it and it's perfect. The Reverend.
What-
The drunk ass Reverend.
oh yeah,
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy.
Yeah, it's too
that totally
perfect.
makes sense.
It's too perfect.
Jeremy Irons was my other Hosea cast.
Jeremy Irons. Okay.
He's
like that. Alfred.
Yep,
Right.
Alfred. Most recently, he was oh god, the guy in Watchmen. Why can't I think of his name? Oh,
Does his name start with an O?
I think Ozymandias. My brain literally couldn't get past the O sound. Anyway, yeah.
So-
Yeah. I think looking at my cast, it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it'll be about a, $100 million season or so. It's all right. It's definitely an HBO show. What streaming platform is yours on?
yeah, HBO, absolutely.
Right.
Or Amazon Prime, but probably HBO.
Damn. So
Did Fallout pretty good.
that's true. That is true. They do have video game experience. So what was your favorite mission? I know you had a couple questions, but we'll get into that right now. What's your favorite mission?
OLI, house building.
Yes. Cow shit cleanup.
Cow shit cleanup was a good one too. No, OLI's house building actually was on there. My Last Boy, when you rush the military to save Eagle Flies, and when Dutch pretty much screws Eagle Flies and leaves him to die, or leaves you to die, and Eagle Flies saves your butt. And the Braithwaite one was solid too. But my favorite, American Venom, which is the final episode or the final mission of the epilogue, where you go up the snowy mountains, taking out all of Micah's crew, and you finally get what everybody always wanted the entire time they played this game, and that is to shoot Micah dead. So that was my favorite.
Dude, that's my favorite one too, but I got him. How many times did you get him? I probably got him 3-4 times in the face. With the
Oh yeah,
Deadeye.
I think as many as I had in the clip, I got Deadeye lock-ons and then just kept shooting him on the ground after
Yeah,
I took
oh,
out
yeah.
a sawed off and shot him in the head until his head was gone. It was I kept going.
Let's go.
Sadie got a little scared.
I have the Braithwaite Manor and Red Dead Redemption as well. That's the final mission with Arthur. But OLI, the hammer drunk looking for Lenny mission in the fucking bar is so
Yes.
funny.
Lenny.
When you're playing poker on the boat, that's a fun one. That heist mission when you have to dress up in the suit and pretend like you're this rich guy.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I like the
Robbing
missions that are different layers like that. Like it's not all just the shootout like American
Right,
Venom, but
right.
yeah.
Robbing the train. A couple of those robbing the train missions, not just like randomly, but the missions were fun
Right.
where you have to like shoot through each car as you're going through. Those are always exhilarating.
Yeah.
Just so many different ones. Damn, there's so many. Yeah, love them all.
I know I'm forgetting a couple of them too,
I
but
know. I don't want to forget any good ones. Let us know in the comments down below.
there you go.
All right, so let's wrap it up with one last topic. Top 5 single player campaign / story mode games of all time. So first I want to ask, have you ever played Half-Life or Resident Evil?
Never played Resident Evil. I played Half-Life, but not a lot. It was back in the day when
think I
Xbox
tried
games
one.
would come with a demo CD, and you'd get
Okay.
like 4 or 5 like demos for all these
Really?
games. That was the only time I played Half-Life. Yeah.
You have any OLIs you want to rip off first?
I do. And so this was hard because there's a lot of games I don't remember that I know I played through back when GameFly was a thing and you just had them sent to you in the mail. Like I cooked through. That's when I
Blockbuster.
played Red Dead Redemption. I cooked through a lot of games through middle school and high school. So forgive me if I forget, but I have 3 OLIs.
Same.
Fallout New Vegas, one of the
Okay,
most
didn't
recent
make it.
games I have played. It did not quite make it. It did initially, and then I remembered another game, and then I took it out.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, favorite
Oh, I
Assassin's
forgot
Creed
about
game.
that.
Absolutely awesome campaign. It's the one that sticks in my mind the most. The pirate stuff, everything
Yes.
about the forts and invading. It still had a really fun action flow to the game. And they put some effort into that one for sure. And then my final OLI on the Nintendo 64, we've got James Bond 007 GoldenEye.
Damn.
Just iconic. I can't not put that on there. God, that game was amazing. Multiplayer was great too, but the campaign was fire.
Right. My OLI, I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think Black Flag's my second favorite Assassin's Creed game. Odyssey with the ancient Rome. I know it's more open world. Some people don't like it, but I think the story is better than Valhalla and Shadows.
Okay. All right.
And then I have Far Cry 5. That's the one with the cult in Montana.
Is that in Montana?
Yeah.
Greg,
That's a
my
good
brother-in-law,
game.
was just telling
a
me that I
good
need to
game.
play that.
It's fun.
It looks sick. Okay.
It's fun.
It's
too.
on my
You see,
list.
Like, fun ass weapons to blow people up with, cars, and a good story too. Like very creepy villains. And then
It didn't it just come out too, like within 6 or 7 years? Like it's somewhat recent.
Yeah, it came out on Xbox One and PS4. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
that edition.
All right. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. And Last of Us Part 1. For single player campaign modes, that's a pretty good game. the first
Okay.
one. So you want to do your top 5 first? You want me to go?
You can lead us off.
All right, number 5. I did it in order too. I wasn't gonna do it in order first, but you know what? We put it in order,
Ooh, here we go.
and I might switch one right now as I look at the list. Number 5, Ghost of Tsushima. So.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. I thought you'd have it higher, honestly.
Oh yeah. No. Okay. Higher. Okay. No. Just
Yeah.
the story for like that subseat is so much better than any Assassin's Creed game. Like the first mission of the game is watching his entire family island get destroyed by Mongols, and then it's just like, okay, like we're ready for this. And then the whole time through, I mean, spoiler alert, sorry, but you're trying to like regain the favor of his uncle the whole time, and then you like turn into the ghost assassinating people, and he ends up turning against you, or you have to fight against him at the end. Like, so the story is amazing at the same time.
Sick.
And then number 4, Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man game on PS4
Okay.
was amazing, better than I thought any video or superhero video game could be. Number 3, it's Cyberpunk 2077. I will
Wow.
always it started off so bad because they rushed the game so much, but once it was a finished product, and the story was still great the whole time. The glitches were in other aspects of the game, but it's one of those games kind of like where Red Dead, where I think there's like 5 or 6 different endings, and your influences throughout the game and change everything about the ending. So, and it's like a GTA set in the future, you know, so it has that going for it. Number 2, The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. Another CD
Thank you.
Project Red game back to back. So they're both in my top 3.
Damn.
Starts
Oh, I
off
didn't
slow.
realize that.
Yeah, right.
That's
both.
Cyberpunk too.
Made by the same people. So another game like Red Dead where you have to kind of grind a little bit. You have to learn all the potions, different weapons, armors, fucking blah blah blah, all the different oils you put on the swords to fight different creatures. Like there's a lot to that game, and it's long. I think that one took me about 70, 80 hours. And I know I could have done a lot more. If you get into it, you could do a good 200 hours easy.
Okay. Looking up the average. Yeah, it says the average or ranges from 50 hours for the main story to over 200 hours.
Yep, there it is. Yeah, I think I was around 70, 80 hours. Just like Red Dead was 90 for me. 100 less hours than Dave. But that spoils my number 1. The whole reason we were here. Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 1 game all time for me. Like, took me by surprise so much. What?
I forgot to put that on my list.
What?
Continue. We'll get to that.
Just the most like complex game I've ever seen, which honestly playing Red Dead made me more excited for GTA 6 than ever before, because I feel like GTA 6 is going to be a cross between Red Dead 2 and GTA 5. You know what I mean? Because Red Dead 2 is their most recent game. GTA 5 came out, what, like 15 years ago or whatever? Like, so,
I think it was 10.
yeah.
Feels like 15. Oh, 12. Never mind. All right.
So, yeah, it just took gaming to a whole nother level where, you know, like you said, doing nothing all day didn't matter. Like, you could play for... There would be a weekend where my wife would be doing homework all weekend. I would play the game at 9 in the morning and then look at the clock and it's like 2 p.m. And I'm like, oh shit, I've been playing the game for 5 straight hours. And then I'm like, all right, I'll do one more mission and I'll stop. And then it's like 3:30. I'm like, okay, I need to turn it off right now or I'm going to be here all day long. And there's not many video games that can make me do that, you know, where time just flies by playing and I'm not thinking about anything else. So it's amazing. I'm glad I finally got to it, and thank you, Tyler, for, you know, convincing me to play it and went all the way through.
I think shout out to you for the reason I started playing it.
There
I think
you
I
go.
saw your snaps and was like, oh, that looks freaking sick. Okay, I got to get onto that. That guy's riding horses and skinning things, and that seems amazing. Boy, yeah. I somehow left my favorite game off of the list.
You can still
So
do
I'm gonna
5. Do 6.
I
Top
gotta
6.
move another game to OLI. And unfortunately that's gonna be GTA 5 has now been dropped down to OLI. And I'm okay with that. I don't want 2 Rockstar games on here anyways. But GTA 5 was a pretty great campaign. Like, switching between 3 different storylines, the whole way it was laid out. It was the best GTA game by far. It lasted. Again, people are still playing it online right now, 12 years later. It was a pretty incredible game. So, unfortunately, it's in my OLI now. So, I will top 5. I just put these in order, so it's a bit iffy, but I wanted to match you at least and have something in order. Number 5, Mass Effect 2. Not the first one, actually, but the second one. I don't know. Have you played those games before?
No, give me a quick backstory on that game.
I mean, okay, so the
Or
campaign...
What's the story?
So it's an open world game. Mass Effect 2, you're the commander of this. I forgot what the name of the ship is. But essentially, there's this alien race that's threatening humanity. It's in the future, and it's in like the 22nd century. And so you have your main base of operations, this ship that you fly around, and you go during different campaigns, and you hand pick your team.
Wow.
Like, I just remember each place you went to, like, you could pick 3 people for your squad right there, or you could just wait, and you literally craft the squad you're going to be rolling with for the rest of the game. But it was one of the first games I played that was so reactive with the dialogue stuff. Like, what you said really affected the rest of the game, affected the dialogue. It was one of the first really detailed games I ever played that had that type of dialogue aspect. And I forget exactly how it ends, but it's crazy. There's a bunch of different weapons, bunch of different customizing options. Cool. And again, this came out in, like, I want to say 2010. This was when I was still in high school, and it was very detailed with that. So this goes to my number 5 spot. Number 4, we're going to go with Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Absolute classic. Absolute classic of a game. Same kind of thing like you were saying, describing The Witcher. There's so many different little things. It's kind of like Fallout New Vegas, but medieval. You know, similar style gameplay and whatnot, but same dialogue, having effects with what you're doing in your game, and it's such a memeable game. There's so many classic meme things that came out of that game, so it's an iconic one. Number 3, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Shout out to the OG, the absolute OG game where you're dealing with Revan and Malak, and oh man, again, all these I'm noticing are games that have the open world chat boxes and everything that affects anything, and you know, depending on what your skills are, affects the conversations you can have.
A certain type of game.
Apparently I do. Number 2, what's that?
You played that whole game?
Skyrim?
No.
Yeah.
Republic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I beat that game back in the day. I haven't played it in 20 years, but it was one of my favorite games of all time growing up, so I had to get it on the list.
Dude, no Star
and it's
Wars
got a
on
great
the
story. I
No
know.
Star-
I was kind of surprised. I almost put Jedi Survivor in the OLI because I
Right.
did really enjoy it, but it just didn't quite do it.
Dude, why don't they just make a game where you can create your own character and fucking do what you want? It's like, I know they have the Old Republic on PC, but I'm talking about like a good one on console.
No, they still need to get Rockstar needs to
cash
take
cow.
on a Star Wars game. Yeah, I
Cash
don't know, man. They're blowing it. But number 2 breaks away from all of that, and it is Halo 2.
Yeah, I thought Halo would make the list.
Absolutely. Of course, Halo is gonna make the list, brother. You know, it's just a part of the childhood. Everybody chant, get the Gregorian chant going on. Everybody in the back, bring it up. Oh, that's my dog. Can't talk about best video games of all time without shouting out Halo. It's still my favorite video game franchise of all time is Halo. And then number 1, Red Dead 2. Already said what I need to say. Incredible. Love it. Obviously, I loved it so much that I beat it and literally almost restarted it instantly without taking a break, and I'm going right back through it again. So, yeah, it's all right.
It's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was a fun episode. Had a good time talking about Last of Us and our favorite game of all time, Red Dead Redemption. So thank you, and we will see you next time here on Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast. Maybe doing a little what do you think? We actually, you know what? Our 3-year anniversary is coming up in about 3 weeks. So we do need to get that together.
Isn't it sooner? Or was it July?
It's
was
July
the first
5th. It's July 5th.
Okay. I thought it was June. Holy crap. Yeah. Should probably do
guess
something
what?
for that.
Hey, and we got a plan. All right?
We got a plan, and we just need some money. So send us money, please.
Oh my gosh. Yes, but we will see you guys soon next time. Thank you for joining us.